I'd like to just explain a little bit the idea, how it comes and how it developed. And so I started after 9/11. You know, it kind of struck me that it was in September, but then it was very fast forgotten, and people keep on their life and everything get back to normal, but really fast. Because I was in New York, so just everything happened. And I started thinking about it because I was glued to TV, and you know, you see all this, like the same videos over and over again, and then it's kind of faded out. And then the next videos that start playing on the news, when they decided to retaliate, and America retaliated in Afghanistan. And you know, and I was thinking, like, Afghanistan is sort of nobody's land. That none of the people who were involved were from Afghanistan, but Afghanistan was chosen, and they start bombing. And when they show the pictures how the bombing start, you don't see the country, you just see at night kind of like light bulbs. It's like, you understand this was like carpet bombing or something. And they said, oh, it's very particular, don't target civilian, just like you see this pum 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 on the screen, and you really has no feeling because you don't see what happened there. It was very kind of clinical. And but then I started thinking about what's happening there, because sometimes you get the picture of the country is almost level. And I thought, and then the Christmas came, and I was thinking that the Christmas tree is sort of symbol of life, and how does this life of these people, like, really almost, you know, nothing happened that they can hold on to, but still people in America, they celebrate Christmas and everybody's happy. And to me, the Christmas is about, when you think about the baby in the manger, you know, you think that it's helpless, and you know, it was poor and nowhere to go except for the manger. So it's very much for me reflecting the idea of these refugees, and even people who lost their house, you know, they still have a lot of children, and where do they go? So, but the first original idea I have was to make this Christmas tree, and I proposed to a couple of galleries the installation, and the tree wasn't upside down, it was a regular, but I created these soldiers, these little toys, like toy soldiers, and that were sent to the war and sent there, and so pretty much, like, you know, has no personality. And I thought, in the real Christmas tree, which is bushy, you know, they're sort of hiding in between these needles, and it's like they're hiding in the real life, you know, in these countries that they have nowhere to go and nowhere to hide, because there is no structures, it's just nature, and it's either like jungle or it's woods or whatever, mountains. And that's, I think, they sort of camouflaged on this Christmas tree. But I sent to a couple of galleries, and nobody really reacted, because they said it's very raw and you can't really do this. This sort of artist idea of what's happening. But to me, the artwork, I mean, and the really work of the artist is to be kind of like an echo. And you don't think much, you just respond in the beginning to what's happening. And but it's not a mirror, because mirror is like without the thought, but echo is more like it can change in what you're responding and what you hear. It has still like reflection, but it's not a very like immediate reflection, right? Yeah.
Can I have a question?
Yeah.
Would you call it provocative?
Yeah, I think all of my art is provocative, but it's provocative thought. You know, it's I want people to think about what I think, and that's why I create work, and I want a response to my response. So it's sort of like get into the line of this thinking, and you know, my thinking changed, and so the work changed, and so the next idea I had to make this huge Christmas tree, I mean really big, but real, and the idea was that usually, you know, you have angels on the trees, and they are kind of high in heaven, but the first idea of the installation was that it's so scary, so the angels get all the way under the tree. And that was the drawing I made about the angels like really hiding under the tree, and all over the tree is this military paraphernalia and the soldiers and this Christmas toys, which remind me, when I look at these crystal balls, it reminds me of the very primal hand grenade that they make in Afghanistan. It's just a simple, kind of ball. It can be crystal or something that explode, and you get hurt by these little fractures. And so that's all the time I see this crystal balls, I'm thinking about the hand grenade. Because I found out, I started investigating, and I found out they come in 3 different shapes. And all of the shapes are taken from nature. They're they're called lemon, orange, and the pineapple. So it's sort of like a military camouflage into the nature of what they're making. And I thought it's interesting because it's particular to a different country. I think the lemons are from Russia, and Americans make oranges, and pineapples are also kind of universal because it's blow up better and can harm more because of this particular shape. So it was very much connected with nature, and for me it was sort of the nature of this Christmas tree. It's like very bushy and beautiful. But then after a couple of years I started thinking about the life the people turn upside down, and why, and how does it happen. And then I start connecting it with like who is orchestrating it, these revolutions that happen and change of powers, and why every time it's happened, the country, some people get rich, and they get more rich and more rich, and the organization get rich, and then I realized that it was about this idea of pushing this new culture of fear. Because we are feeling secure in secure country, we have borders protected, but we feel more and more insecure because things happen that we can't expect, and we can't know when it happened, and nobody knows, and then it happens, and everything is shaken. All this idea of security that you know what you're doing tomorrow, it just completely shattered. But then after a couple of days, it's back to normal and you feel secure again. But meanwhile, the country tells you that they need to protect more and you need more protection. So you keep paying for this, and people agree, yes, they want more protection. And so with everything that happened, you got another gold brick in the bank because somebody's paying for it. And this, so then I decided to turn the tree upside down as an idea of, the tree represent life. And when you turn it upside down, it's uprooted, and so these people whose life is uprooted, and they have no connection to history, to their land anymore, because they have no roots. And so they're easy to manipulate, they move around. And recently with this, nomads invaded Europe because they have no life at home. That gives me even more idea about these 2 structures, the pyramid of gold bricks and the Christmas tree, because they're both tapering structure. And so they became kind of a diagonal, and opposite. So one is growing, and it's going to be built eventually, and it's on your dollar bill, and you know that it's going to be completed when the new order of things happen, but it's still not happened because it's still not completed, but it's growing. And the other one is this Christmas tree upside down, where it has more and more lives and turn this way, and it's just produce and produce and produce. But also, when I was doing these toys, I'm very much into mass production because it fascinates me. And also the idea of mass production, that it has no personality. But on the other way, I think that when you touch an object that is mass produced, immediately make it different just by touching it. And a lot of my work were made from mass-produced things, very cheap, that I did something with them. Like I made a wall of just paper bags out of supermarket. But I found out when I crumpled it and open it up again, if each one is completely different and they look like a stone. So I thought I can just do something with mass-produced things to make it unique. But then I got into this new technique of laser cut and 3D object, and I realized I can mass-produce my own mass production, artistic. And so this were the first try. I made a design of this object, very, very simple, and they were cut from the cardboard. And then I thought, what can I do with it to make it unique? And I thought, I can just put my fingerprint over it. And this fingerprint, or even crump them a little bit. And that's why I thought like this, these soldiers or these objects, they can be identified by my fingerprint, and also by doing this from like new recruit, clean and like a slate, it become a veteran because I did something with it. And then I thought about, and I researched on the internet, which is amazing, now you can find anything there, how many armed conflicts happened in a seemingly peaceful time after World War II. And I was shocked because it gives you like, not only wars, civil wars or armed conflict, whatever, but it's thousands. So the war never really stopped, it just moving around the world, like in this country, in several countries. And the civil war, it's in one place, so it's not really spread on, but if you think about them simultaneously, in many, many places, it's spreading like cloud, And now it's spreading more and more and more because people are moving around and they have nothing to hold on because they have no houses. And even the countries that, like Syria, it wasn't a nomad country. People don't move around, they stay. And now they start moving, and so they have no more connection to the land, and they move to Europe or something. And Europe thought in the beginning that it's okay, 2 million, we can. But they multiply, and it's never going to stop. And at some point they realize it's not going to end. And so this is a new things that's happening. And when I was looking, for this installation, it was really amazing because when I arrived in this gallery and I sent to Margaret, I sent the little picture, and I didn't really know the dimension of the gallery. So the tree is supposed to hang from the ceiling and the pyramid like underneath. And then when I arrived and I realized it doesn't have space to hang from a ceiling because it's not that high. And then I saw the sofa and I saw the table, and I thought, oh, this large object, and they have to be somehow incorporated in the show. And then I was thinking about these Palmyra images that I look at, This is the world heritage, right? And we love them and people go see them, and now they're gone, or almost gone. Because these people who destroy things, they thought, very clever, I thought, that, when you destroy history and memory, you pretty much destroy culture, and you make people uncultural and unheritage. And so you make them without everything that they can hold on to, even like not the house, but what they are or who they are. And they became nobodies. So it became like mass-produced object that has no identity. And then I was looking at these pictures and I thought, I somehow want to camouflage the objects in the gallery, because in the installation everything has to fit. And then I thought, how can I cover it? And then I started printing, and I found in my studio, which has a lot of things, I found this sway material, and I tried a few things on it, and it really shocked me that it looks very much as texture of the stone, but the old one, like old marble, you know, it's a little velvety, and it has this kind of feeling. And so I decided to print on fabric and cover. So the idea is that it's like, you know, this big sofa, it's very inviting to sit in it, but it covers with the images of these broken stones, which is very sharp, and you kind of sense the sharpness of them, and you sort of don't want to sit on them. But on the other hand, it looks beautiful because it still has this object. But the more it's broken, the less you see the object, and you more see it like a texture, and this texture of this broken bricks or stone. So when I printed it, I sort of think, oh, it became kind of a centerpiece because it's just created this object that kind of disappeared as a sofa and appeared as a pile of broken stuff, which in a way is a byproduct of this power play that, you know, created this brick and this Christmas tree, which represent this destruction and distress in the world. And this is right in between. And then with the table, I thought, it's going to be a perfect, under the Christmas tree, it's like a perfect large box that contains a present. And what's the nicest present you can think of is a TV, a huge one, right? And so I decided to have it played continuously. And first I thought that because of this Palmyra, that it should play this bombing and, you know, the explosions. It's kind of interesting to watch because it's fascinating. But then I thought that something should be really like nice and positive. So I thought about that all the time. About after this explosion, what happened is a celebration that it's kind of over, at least for a while. So this fireworks, which is also explosion, but it's sort of friendly explosion, and it's beautiful because they look like flowers. So I decided just this fireworks, kind of this idea of celebration that happening during Christmas, you know, and that's why I decided on it. But it plays continuously, and it's fascinating. So you can sit on the couch, watch the video, watch the TV, and sort of this idea. And two angels, I have them before, and I made them, and I think they're like perfect because they're not interfering, they're just watching what happened. And one is sad, and one is kind of mean. Because he just doesn't care, and he just like thinks this is all ugly. And the other one is very sad, and I put him just on top of the couch because he's sad for culture, for Palmyra and everything. And